This episode is brought to you by Arcat, and Arcat is headed to Long Beach, California for Construct. Visit them at booth 523 on October 4th and 5th to learn how Arcat can save you time and money finding the product information AEC professionals need.
Arcat also offers Charrette, which can help promote your firm and services. As always, Arcat is free to use. With all the time you're saving, you can enjoy the beautiful weather in Long Beach, and you can come see our interactive luncheon on Wednesday. A little tippy tip there.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Let Arcat help get you out of the office at arcat.com. That's ARCAT.com. And check them out at booth 523.
Welcome to Archispeak, the podcast that talks about what it's like to work in the profession of architecture.
Welcome to episode 152 of the Archispeak podcast. I'm Neil Pan.
I'm Evan Troxel.
And I'm Cormac Phelan.
All right, so I had an idea for a topic, and that is what I call, although not necessarily just this category of professional, but
now be careful.
Architect
now
fails.
Architect fails.
Fails.
I thought you were going to use the other terms like stupid. You know what? Then Cormac was going to have to edit that like about 150 times through the episode.
Throughout the whole
I think that'd be
episode,
kind of funny.
Hashtag architect fails.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
So it came to me when I heard. I'll start. I have a couple that I wanted to share, and hopefully people out there can commiserate and laugh at this. That's really the whole point. Because if we can't laugh at ourselves, we can rest assured everybody else is laughing at us. Because
yeah.
But I also say that
at you.
this is the narrow definition here of architect fails should not just be relegated to architects. It should also apply to clients and contractors and consultants and all that stuff. Because we're all working on the same project together. And so the first one that I wanted to share, and I'm hoping that these will kind of spark some ideas with you guys, is I overheard this. It's not any project that I'm working on, and I won't say what project it is or who said this or anything like that. But this is
sure.
This
Just
is
keep it.
This is makes me a little crazy. Oh my God. I looked at the segment plans, and he is dimensioned to the match line.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
So, awesome. we work on big buildings, right? And so segment the floor plans. I mean,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Okay. He dimensioned to the match line?
So for those that, maybe there's some people out there who don't know what a match line is, but match line's a big heavy line that just basically says, okay, for this floor plan, this segment of this floor plan, look on this sheet. For this segment on the other side of the line, look on this sheet.
Look on this sheet.
But the dimension, there was, somebody went through and dimensioned the walls, and they actually snapped in Revit to the match line itself, which is an imaginary thing. It's a graphic symbol on the plan, just like an elevation or a section marker. Like you would never dimension to those because they're not real things in the real world. I just thought that was the best thing ever.
Okay, I got to ask you this since you Neil, you may be going the same direction, but so dimensioning is just an enormous pet peeve of mine, and to
heavy
sit
sigh.
heavy sigh. So to go through and redline a set. And you've got dimensions. Some are coming from the center line to an interior face of a room, or it's going from interior face of room to interior face of the next room. But you're looking at a set of documents, and you've got every single convention or misconvention of dimensioning
Everyone's
going on at the same time. It's just like, dude, it's like, or you can tell that, this person and this person and this person and this person all worked on it because the dimensions are all across the board.
Different, yeah.
Now, sometimes those get past the QA/QC effort and get out onto the field. And they're just like, I can't make any sense of your dimensions because they're all over the board. But sometimes they don't necessarily ask that question before they lay out the walls. And you walk in and say you have a string of offices. And each of those offices are 100 square foot offices, and so, or 120 square foot, so they're 10 by 12s. And so you've got a 10.5 foot office and a 9.5 foot office, and then a 9.5 foot office, and a 10 foot office, and then a, and you're just like, oh my, what the hell is going on?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
we've had similar conversations. I think that's kind of the point of this, is we can all relate at some level to a lot of these things.
God.
All right, Neil, what did it what lightning struck?
Yeah, no, it triggered something. So a number of years back, this is a long time ago, actually. And I was driving through a residential neighborhood that I'd worked on, and the models were up, and like the first phase or two were constructed, and I'm driving through, and I see this window up on the second floor, and I'm like, wow, that window breakup pattern, right? You know, we put mullions, they're fake. They're usually in between the glass, right? Because it's very expensive to do true divided lights, or even put the mullion material on the outside of the glass so you get a shadow line. You know, that's expensive. So in residential building, usually in housing, they'll just have the mullion in between the glass. So you get the look, but it's not, you don't get the shadow pattern. Anyway, so I'm driving through this neighborhood, and I'm looking up at this window. I'm like, what? Something's wrong. That window break, I would have never drawn it like that. And so I don't remember if I had the plans with me or not. But anyway, I get back to the office. I'm looking at the plans, and I'm like, why is this window pattern this way in the window? And I look at the plans, and they misinterpreted. So we have window callouts for, head, jamb, and sill details. They misinterpreted a window callout as a mullion, and they built the window with the mullion in an awkward space, right? I mean, normally you'd kind of do a cross pattern, or depending on the style of house, a couple of different patterns, but there's typical patterns, right? And this had like a mullion break in the middle, and then one like 4 or 6 inches below. It just made no sense at all. And It dawned on me when I saw the plan. I went, oh my goodness, they misinterpreted a window call out.
When something like that, they're clearly looking at the plans.
Yeah.
But every time they submit an RFI, or they're not looking at the plans. Like what?
Well, in this case, in the residential development, we're not in the world of RFIs and submittals and such for the most part, because the developer is the main contractor, the owner, the contractor. They hire subs, but in some cases they have their own contracting team that does it. So there's no RFIs that tend to come in traditional architecture practice, design, bid, build process. That doesn't happen. So we never saw it until it actually got built. And it wasn't one of the models. That's the problem. We see the models. There may be 4 of those or something, right, but this happened to be a variation of an elevation that wasn't one of the ones that was modeled. And so we didn't see it till it was in production. I was like, oh, major head slap. It's like, oh my goodness.
A little artistic license there.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, so that's what you just said earlier. Just reminded me of that architectural fail, if you will.
That's a good one.
So, all right. So that reminds me of something that more recently happened. So we've got a project that, we have to fly to, and so we only go down once a month. So most of the time it's handled through RFIs, through OAC conference calls, and you're not really able to physically look at what's being built. And then they put the construction camera up. And then they give me, and I think I sort of talked about this, in the past.
You did, yeah.
And then they give me the
address,
the login information, so that I can go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm looking at, some of the steel's going up, and then some of the more decorative steel is going up. I designed this double column with kind of a plate in between them that connects the two columns, but is also connecting a series of arches that go in both the longitudinal and latitudinal directions and in every which way. And so as part of that plate, right behind it, if you look at the enlarged plan, I have a dashed line indicating a removable panel that's basically a small cover that goes over the drivers of these two lights that are mounted on the inside face of this plate that's connecting at the midpoint between these two steel columns that shine up and shine onto the arch and illuminate it. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, what's going on? Why does that plate it doesn't look like it's in the right position? So I can kind of zoom in, and I zoomed in, took a screenshot, and sent it over to my structural engineer. And I was like, hey, this doesn't look right. What, have you been out on site recently? Because he's local. So, he's like, yeah, I was just out on Friday, and this was a Monday. I was just out there on Friday, and let me send you some of the pictures, see if you can see what's out there. And so he sends me these pictures, and the removable plate that I call out for and even have a leader and an arrow, because it's a dashed line, not a solid line, but a dashed line that says removable panel, and have in my elevations the elevation of it and everything, and then my section of that area have the dimensions for how big this little removable plate is supposed to be. They basically took the same base plate and replicated it and welded it in place. So it is a half-inch thick by 3 feet tall by
a small thing.
18 by 18 inches wide plate, welded AESS steel, welded in place, beautiful welds, all ground down and finished and ready to go to receive the paint and everything else. All just, perfectly primed, everything ready to go. All welded in place. All 6 bays of columns are all welded in place.
Didn't check those shop drawings close enough.
And so we've been discussing in firm tones, aka probably arguing about
I like that
you need to take those off. Well, I think you guys,
easy.
because we've talked about it, that no, it's not, because this is architecturally exposed structural steel, and you grind it off in the field, and you're gonna have a lot of work to do to make it.
That's a lot of Bondo.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a lot of Bondo. So then,
it's like taking your car to Earl Scheib right there.
Yeah,
well, there's a Southern California reference for you.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's not.
No?
It was. They used to play those in Florida.
Oh,
when I was growing
okay.
up. Earl Scheib, 1995.
okay.
I don't think it was that cheap.
No, just whatever it was. It was like $199.95 or whatever it was. It was some little catchy number. But anyway, so let those plates just sit there for a while, and as we're continuing to build the building around it and everything else, those plates are still there, and I can still keep logging in and seeing them. So now I get where we may have not necessarily thought through another detail, which was the midspan support of the curtain wall that just so happened to fall in line with all of those plates. Well, not just so happened, it was designed to. We had a horizontal tube that was at the same hinge point as all of the arches, so it could pick up the midspan support of this 25-foot tall curtain wall. So everything was great. All of the connections to everything except for as they came close to the collection point of where all these arches come together were thought out. We're all designed out. I guess we were thinking in our mind or rushing through it that they're all going to be the same. So, yeah, great. Except for they fall into the hinge plates and they don't work the same way at those hinge plates. And so step in these plates that weren't supposed to be plates, that were supposed to be a removable cover. And now I'm like, well, guess they're going to stay in place because now I need them.
You just MacGyvered that.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And I just recently sent them a sketch that came up with a completely different kind of way of mid-span supporting the curtain wall at my column assembly so that I could
happy accident right there.
could basically it was totally a happy accident that now the plate being there, one, is a place to weld to, and two is a place to cover it so you can't really see it.
How funny.
And I was just like, this whole time I'm like, you got to cut those off. Those are wrong, blah, 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 blah. And through another mistake of mine, their mistake helped cover up a mistake of mine by not thinking all the way through the midpoint connections.
So what you're saying is that this dimension to my match line might work out to our advantage.
It might.
Yeah.
It just might. So hold strong to it. Leave it there, because you never know.
Yeah.
Because when they build that big bold dotted line in the field,
The accessible path on the walkway.
exactly,
Because it has happened.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
All right.
Yes,
so
it has.
here's my next one. This one hits close to home. There's I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of APPA? APPA is. It's funny.
Isn't that Swedish band?
Yeah, it's really close to that. The Association of Physical Plant Administrators.
Oh yes.
What?
So this is
Yes,
a
yes.
campus facility group.
APPA? Is that it?
Yeah. So they have these levels of cleanliness. It's kind of like a published standard, like levels of cleanliness for college campuses to be judged up against. And basically a college campus could become a member of this, and then they would adhere to some level in the breakdown of levels of cleanliness. I mean, you can only imagine. I mean, we all have kids. We all know what the levels of cleanliness are that we want in our house versus what
apparently that is a huge scale then, because I've been on some campuses.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. Okay, so this was not on my radar before this, but we're going through a deal now where building is under construction, and they're saying that exposed concrete is a big deal at the campus now. It wasn't during any of the meetings or the anything that we've done so far. But now that it's actually being built, this is a problem, right? Even though the entire campus is made out of poured in place concrete. It's a problem with gum and basically, just getting stuff cleaned off. And so they said, well, here's the level of cleanliness that we adhere to. All right. So I'm going to read you the levels of cleanliness. And so this is eye-opening. All right.
You can't even get through.
All right. So level 1 is orderly spotlessness. All right. Level 2, ordinary tidiness. Level 3, casual inattention. Right? These are all good band names. Number 4, moderate dinginess. And level 5 is unkempt neglect.
AKA
My kid's
teenage
bedroom.
boy. Yeah, exactly. Teenage boy bedroom. My boys.
Yes.
So who would have thought that there was 5 levels of cleanliness with such descriptive names for entire campuses, right? For the maintenance crew to shoot for.
That is awesome,
isn't it? It is totally. And this is not. So Cormac, the next time you get a educational facility, you should ask the question.
Gives a whole new meaning to level 5 finish. Or level 5 unfinished.
Yeah. The scales are kind of flipped there.
Exactly.
Anyway, you need to ask your client what their expectation for, or what their level of cleanliness, what they adhere to, because
I can tell you what.
Hopefully, it's above a level 4 of moderate dinginess.
I can tell you what every single utility tunnel that I've ever been in on almost any campus has been. I can
Yeah.
I can assure you that it's on their lower end of the scale.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was great.
God, that is actually awesome.
So it doesn't all fall on the architects this episode, right? This is
Well,
a client thing.
well, so this really isn't any, but the thing about it is that all has to do, eventually that comes back around to us for the materials that we specify.
Oh, totally. Now, and not only that, but after everything's been approved and basically paid for.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sorry, what? And basically it was like, well, once things get real bad, we just cover them up with this thick black rubber. And it's like, what? You're going to do what? You're not just going to get out the power washer and, oh, weird.
Okay, I'll give you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Also known as a real case scenario.
What really happened with the names changed to protect the innocent or the guilty?
Sure,
as
we'll
it
go.
may be.
We'll go that route. So, picture you have this big 160 linear foot by 50 linear foot glass box.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so
basically
that
my house. That's what I live in.
Said hypothetical glass box of 25 feet, if you're now following along with the earlier conversation, you'll know anyway. So that you are going to have fin tubes or something to heat the glass through all the different climatic cycles. And so you've got this nice pristine box and you don't want fin tubes on the floor. So you go through the design and you say, okay, well, let's put them in trenches so that they're down flush with the floor. You've got the grills, exposed to the floor, and then you're heating the glass surface and that whole surface. And then rather than having a midspan, which I don't know what goes through the minds of mechanical engineers sometimes, but where they want to put fin tube heating, you're just like, really? It's like literally you want me to have a fin tube hovering at the midspan of my glass, just supported off of the glass or supported off of the structure.
Supported off the glass.
Yeah, supported off the glass, which in a lot of cases they're just like, well, we just need one
Structural
here.
Velcro.
Can't we maybe just change the types of diffusers and have it throw down, and so we're heating from the bottom and the top and not the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's a different rant for a different time. So you work it all out. So now you are heating. You're throwing it from the top and then you're heating from the bottom, and you've got everything flushed out. And so you've got this nice detail of all of these fin tube trenches that go along follow the face of your glass. And then they start talking about maintenance. And so as we're mopping and buffing the floor and stuff, you're going to have water splashing down into these trenches. And so you're going to get cleaning material and stuff onto the fin tubes, and then it's going to burn off and it's going to smell. And it's just there are ways of putting a cover down over them so that you don't splash over them just while you're doing your cleaning. And our maintenance crew's not that good, so we'll not, we don't want to do that. So now you're having to design around the failing of your client's maintenance program
all the time,
or lack thereof
all the time. Man.
And so they're like, well, can we just put a lip up, or can we raise it up just a little bit, maybe 2 inches, so that water doesn't splash into the trench. And we've designed everything around it. So we've got acrylic covered fin tube housings so that it basically, you can't have anything sit on there. It basically it's like a nonstick pan. It rolls right off of it and it goes down to the bottom of it. And we've got some small linear trench drains and that pick up any excess water or condensation or whatever, and it goes away. Every once in a great while you are going to have to vacuum dust out of there. Just saying, Mr. Owner guy. And your maintenance crew. But, then they start saying, well, we really want you to raise it up. And you're trying to tell them that, well, now you're creating a tripping hazard because now you have this little 2-inch lip or a 1-inch lip on it that, you're going to trip and fall over, and do you really want the liability of your students falling all over the place because now you've got a tripping hazard, and so it's this like weird little cyclical thing that we've talked about this for months and how we can get around doing this, and now literally we now have concrete in the ground with these trenches, and now you want to raise them up. So back to that whole cleanliness thing, it's I mean, to achieve your whatever levels and stuff, I mean, it always comes around of how their basic campus standards and stuff affect the details that we do, or the level or the finishes that we're allowed to put on there, or the type of flooring. It's just like, okay, guess what? We would really like to do this, but this is the type of flooring we're going to use because
this is the carpet standard. It is this blue pile.
Exactly.
It's like,
we've got tens of millions of square yards of attic stock of this carpet.
Yeah.
So this is the carpet you're going to use.
There's something like that. It was we had a bunch of different accent paints throughout a building, and basically they said if there was ever an area that were to get marred that they needed to paint over, they would paint over it with white, just that section.
Oh, I've had that exact same conversation.
Really? That's what you would do? You would just paint over it with white? Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. And it's just like, just to let you know, I mean, that's a really nice accent wall, but the second it gets dirty,
yeah,
when students aren't in there, we're going to paint it white.
Yep.
And with our standard campus white,
right,
which is kind of this weird little, it's like a weird dingy off-white.
As my daughter would say, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, wow, that one just scared me because that one hit home, because I literally had that exact same conversation. Actually, another one of my favorite ones when it comes to maintenance-driven design.
Yeah. Design by maintenance. Yeah, that's what we call it.
Yeah.
I like
design
by
maintenance. Yeah. So maintenance-driven design.
Mm-hmm.
There's a perfect example of one. Is we design the RCP. They turn the AC off during the summer times in K through 12 buildings. I don't know if they do it in California, but if it's not occupied, to save money, they turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unlike California, the East Coast, it's got this weird little thing called humidity.
Yeah.
Especially in the, summer months. And so one of the ways around your, not having sagging ceiling tiles is to use a 2x2, right?
Mm-hmm.
A tegular 2x2, fine fissured, blah, 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 which I know we've all suspect it one way or the other. So, but that's the best, honestly, if, unless you're using moisture resistant ceiling tiles, that's the best way, is to reduce the square footage of it. Yeah, the span, so that it's not sagging. But, and I shit you not, this is the story that I got. We can't have a 2x2 ceiling tile.
Yeah.
Because our maintenance staff cannot fit up in between a 2x2 tile.
Oh, dude, I have totally run into that. You have to make it Bubba size.
It's exactly it.
The access panels have to be Bubba sized.
Yes.
Yeah.
The smallest ceiling tile. They were like, hell, we'll do 4x4 if we could really get away with it. But 2x4 is the smallest ceiling tile that we will allow, because we cannot get and literally there was a guy, their senior maintenance guy was in on this review. He was telling me, he's like, if I can't fit up there, we're not going to, we can't have that particular ceiling tile.
Yeah.
It was a lot more colorful than that, and I'm going to spare everybody, the excessive profanity.
That's a great one.
But oh my Lord, it was just like, seriously, we were designing around the Bubba size.
Yes.
Thanks.
Size. I like that.
Great.
That's
oh my God. And I had just recently had a project that we wanted to do the plank lay-in ceiling, because it looks nice, actually. You know,
You got to
nice
get the
thin
2x4s with just the grooves cut in them. That's what you have to get down to.
And how bad does that look? It literally feels like you're putting T111 up in your ceiling.
Fine fissured T111.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Sagging T111. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, that's all I got.
And I tell you what, I mean, and how many times I don't understand the rationale or the thinking behind that too, because they're developing their campus standards based off of either whatever manufacturer came by and gave them the best lunch and learn, or took them out to like the nicest golf course and said, hey, if you use our product, we'll give you a discount on it, and I'll keep sending you these nice cookie baskets.
Yeah, like their attic stock is all based on the design that was done 30 years ago.
Exactly. So now, it's like, okay, well, I had one that their maintenance staff did not know how to work on or fix a standard like PVC or TPO type roof, so they wouldn't do this, the single ply membrane roof. They could only work on a ballasted 4-ply asphaltic roof.
Yeah. Oh man, I've had design driven by roof before. Yeah.
Oh my God! And you're just like, you're wasting money. You're wasting, and you can never really track down a leak under a ballasted roof because you don't know really where it's at. It's everywhere, and so you're going to rip up more of it. Whereas at least on a TPO roof, you can kind of see where blistering is happening or some peel back from the membrane overlap or whatever, and you can track it down pretty quickly. Now they're, as you guys know, they're, equipping roofs with leak detection systems, right, so that it's just like, well, it's because you're not doing it right in the first place. So now you're doing the belts and suspenders. Gotta love that term.
I love it.
Belts and suspenders.
That's a Bubba-sized term.
Exactly.
Well, I think we open the floodgates for you, Cormac.
Yes, I have a lot of trauma based off of a lot of the,
as we all do.
Things
Lots of scar tissue around these kinds of things that come up on projects. Anyway, thanks for commiserating.
I have a recent one.
All right.
So we go out to a job site, and one part of it is finished, and it's been painted. So we walk up. I'm like, wow, this building looks really shiny. And it's a small little single-story building, and just part of a larger project. And I was like, wow, this looks really shiny. And so get up to it, and I'm like, why does this look so shiny? Is this gloss? Why did they paint the exterior of this building
so you can wipe it down?
Gloss? Yeah.
Because it's hosable.
And you know what? Yes, they painted a hose off sort of building. Anyway, yeah, we asked the question, like, why is this gloss?
It really shows off the imperfections.
So the painter ended up repainting the entire building in flat like it was supposed to be. So anyway, that's a fun little story. It just came up not too long ago.
So here's a fun exterior finish story. So it has happened to us where. So we've been using terracotta a lot on our exterior cladding, and there are two different firing ways to fire terracotta. You can fire it like you fire bricks. They cut all the bricks, they stack them up on a pallet, they put them in the kiln, and they fire it, and you get unequal heating throughout the kiln. So there's the kiln fired or the belt fired. Belt fired, you're basically getting it's feeding it all the way through, single layer, and it's firing it all evenly on the top and the bottom, so you can get more color consistency. you design your specs, write your specs around. Typically, you're writing it around the most restrictive, the most expensive one, and then through bidding and or value engineering, you typically get the cheaper of the two. I guess the warnings to this is you really got to be sure of what you're doing, because you get the mock-up. We got our mock-up, and the mock-up looked good. All of the color was right. They go ahead and order the cladding for a 200, 300 square foot building, and then it starts coming out, and the color is all over the place. From one end of the panel to the other end of the panel could be inconsistent. The panel next to the other panel could be a slightly off color from the other one.
It's a feature.
And so now it's all a checkerboard. And then the client comes out there and takes a look at it and says, what the hell is going on here? And it's $3 million worth of terracotta that needs to be replaced because of color inconsistencies. And they're like, and we had that recently on a building, and no fault really to ours, and in a way no fault really of the general contractor or the construction manager, but it's just these weird little things that you don't really know. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, and sometimes it's different firing or different runs of terracotta. So it's like, oh, we just finished a batch of Boylston red. Yes, that is an actual color. And then, and so they ship that off to you. Then they fire another batch. Well, that next batch that's fired and that gets sent off to you is slightly off of the other one.
Different
and
lots, yeah.
It may not actually necessarily look that way, in the factory or whatever, because you don't have the two sitting side by side. But once you get it up on the building and the sun hits it and you're like looking at it, that is a building that looks like it's not talking to itself. I don't know, that one wasn't one where you just like, it's a miss by the architect or but it's one of those ones where it happens, and now you have a owner who is out for blood, looking for somebody to justify what the hell just happened to. Now they're paying tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars for a building, and now they've got the exterior cladding. The only thing that anybody ever sees is the stuff that they see, and if the stuff that they see is mismatched colors or mismatched wood panels or things like that, which we're going through that right now with a selection of the building, that hypothetical building that has the trench, all of that glass and all that other stuff. We're having to go through and make sure that all of our wood graining patterns and book matching and everything else are all right. Because of that very fact. I mean, right now, so we're so worried about, we're so gun shy about using material, either untested material or material that we've seen other mistakes on other buildings from other architects and stuff. And we're like, well, that is a good cost savings measure from this, but it doesn't hold up or something. And so you then learn, you learn through the mistakes that, of untested materials.
Straight from the trenches, folks, right here. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Are we,
it wasn't glossy.
Was this a good therapy session?
But it was.
Good.
It was, I think.
All right. You want to take us out, Neil?
Absolutely. Well, hey,
Cool.
Yes, take us out to end this.
I'm going to end it. All right. So, hey, I just want to remind everyone that this episode is brought to you by Arcat. Send them some love. You're going to see them soon, hopefully, at Construct. The music is by System Kid. Subscribe to Archispeak on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or listen directly from our site. A lot of people tend to do that. And what's that name? Archispeakpodcast.com. You can follow the show on social media via Twitter and Facebook, and links to each of those can be found on the site. Thanks for listening, everyone, and just a reminder, stay subscribed. We'll see you next time.
Tell us your fails, for sure.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear everybody else's fails.
Absolutely. So. Share.
Good night.
And make them Bubba size.
Bubba.
Drawing straws and pails, me hard. I'm caught in a phone booth on the beach. You reach for your gun. Do I watch or run, or will someone call 911? Please, you were everything I wanted. Cause you tell me every little thing's gonna be